It's the morning after the Merseyside derby, the first one in the Hill Dickinson Stadium, where Everton faced Liverpool, and the end result was 2-1 to the Reds. Welcome back to the channel. And let's just say that it was quite a back and forth, if you ask me, with regards to the match on the overall. Everton thought they were ahead first in the 29th minute, but when there's six of your players offside, not just one, six, it's only right that the referee, with VAR assistance, called it off. And then about a minute later, here comes Mo Salah with the first goal of the game, first goal of the derby in the new stadium for Everton. And what a way to really leave a lasting impression to the fellow Merseyside rivals. That's all I got to say about that. So it went into 1-0, all the way up to halftime. Could have been 2-0 or 3-0 if Gakpo and Isak took their chances. But I'll get to them in a minute. Second half, Everton equalized. It was really bad defending, but to make matters worse, when Beto equalized for Everton, he collided with our keeper, Mamadashvili, and as a result, I think it was his knee that got hit with Beto's boot. So it was a bad injury. So speedy recovery to Mamadashvili, especially after knowing that we are going to lose Hugo Ekitike for not just for the rest of the season, but maybe for almost pretty much the next season as well. With his ruptured Achilles tendon, which is a very painful and a lengthy spell on the sidelines, a painful injury and a very long spell on the sidelines. So on the side note, get well soon, Hugo. Get well soon, Mamadashvili. So it stayed 1-1 until the end. Everybody's hoping for a last-minute winner. It can come from anywhere. In fact, there was towards the end of the match, there was a moment where we all thought that Ingamo was gonna repeat his Newcastle antics. When I can't remember who it was that squared it to the left, and instead of Szoboszlai letting it run through, it was Kirkis that let it run through because he saw Ingamo. Very nice dummy. Ingamo could have scored. Unfortunately he didn't. But captain to the rescue. Corner, Van Dijk header, boom, there it is. And in the 99th minute, I think, or was it the 100th minute? Because we had 11 minutes of added time thanks to the injury treatment with Mamadashvili. So at the end of the day, it's 3 points, one step closer to Champions League football next season. So congratulations to the Reds, congratulations to Arne Slot. I don't say that much often, but you know what? Kudos to you. Let me get to a few players. Let me start with Isak. Honestly, for 70 minutes, which was the time he was on the field, it was 10 against 11. But I understand. I totally understand it. I don't think there's a Liverpool fan out there that expects Isak to perform like the way he usually performs when he was at Newcastle. Let's not forget, people, he just came back from an injury. So the goal of him to be on the field for that long, especially with, again, Ekitike out, the whole goal for him, no pun intended, is for him to be physically fit again. In other words, to get his fitness back on a top level. So if he scores or if he assists in the game, to be honest, that's a bonus. We obviously will take the bonus, definitely. But the goal is for him to get his fitness back. And I hope that with these last few games, I hope that he gets his fitness back quickly, especially with the run of games that we have, the last 5 games. As far as I know, the next game is against Crystal Palace. We want revenge at Anfield. We want to at least beat Crystal Palace at Anfield. And then after that is Man United at Old Trafford, Chelsea at home. I think Aston Villa away, and then the final game is against Brentford at home. So this is it's a tough run of games. So we need Isak back to as close to his fitness best as possible over these next few games. And of course, after the World Cup, we hope we can get him to the the Newcastle form, if you will. Who do I think is the worst player in that game today? I've seen a few other channels. I'll tag them in this video. To be honest, I think the worst player in that game was Curtis Jones. I understand there were no right backs. I understand that Frimpong was a sub. He was on the bench. So Jones at right back, okay, I get it. But towards the end of the game, he was very leaky, and he was taking too many risks. He's not, when it's time for him to clear the ball, he just want to dribble past defenders and all that, which is very annoying, especially in the Merseyside derby. This, that's not the game. When you're 1-1, you're looking for a winner. That is not the game for you to razzle dazzle at right back position. You're not in midfield, Curtis Jones. So it was very, very annoying. And even when Frimpong came in, Frimpong did not play right back. He played right wing. Understandable, again, because Verts, Isak, I can't remember who else was subbed off. Oh yeah, I think Gakpo was subbed off. So Frimpong had to play the right wing. So Jones was stuck at right back. I don't think he needed to take the risk. That's all I'll say. I think he was the worst player, unfortunately. So he has to get his head in the game. I think he has to really just don't play around. Okay, especially when top 5 spot is on the line with the next few games coming up. Don't play around. That's all I got to say to Curtis Jones. Van Dijk, Konate, usual. I think they did well. Robertson, we all know he's leaving. I think this is kind of like his farewell tour, if you know what I mean. Like Salah, because they're both leaving. Szoboszlai, didn't see much of him. Gravenberch was also quite poor. Who else would that be? Again, Isak against just more fitness. Salah got his goal. Gakpo played all right. Gakpo was decent. So if I were to give a ratings for Gakpo, I think a 7 is a fair grade. Just very unfortunate that he couldn't score. He had a couple of chances that I think he would have taken away. Made it count. I think would have made it count. So, but at the end of the day, 2-1. So we beat Everton home and away, same scoreline, and this is the boost that we need to get to the end of the season and finish up in the top 5. Secure that Champions League football spot. Now, in other news, other matches, of course, the marquee match of the week was Man City and Arsenal. And having just looked at the highlights, I think it was a very even out game. But at the end of the day, Man City, when it counts, they beat Arsenal 2-1. The gap between those two, they are the top 2, is now 3 points. And if Man City win the game in hand against Burnley, then they will be level on points with Arsenal, with goal difference making the difference. So this is going to be a very, very interesting run-in. It's called a run-in for a reason. And with 5 games to go after Man City play their game in hand, I'd like to see how this pans out. Man United, they are also making a push to the top 5 after they beat Chelsea 1-0. So is Aston Villa after Aston Villa against Sunderland. It was ongoing concurrently with our game. It was Villa, I think 3-1 up at one point. Sunderland fought back to make it 3-3 in the space of 2 minutes or even less. There was a last minute winner, and Aston Villa won it 4-3. It was a very thrilling game, So I think those are the 5 teams. Arsenal, Man City, Man United, Aston Villa, and Liverpool. These are the 5 teams that, from the looks of it, I think we are the ones that are going to the Champions League next season, and I hope that is the case. I hope we will be in amongst that 5 teams. So that is it for me. And so as always, like, comment, share, subscribe. You know, we now have 1 week breaks. We're not playing a game every 3 days now, so this is a chance for the players to really get a bit more cohesion, especially with the run in that we're gonna have. So always, as always, like, comment, share, most importantly, subscribe. Thank you to all who have viewed and subscribed. I hope they keep the subscriptions coming. I'll see you in the next video, and up the Reds.